What's good, y'all, and welcome to another vid. So, today's topic is this beautiful Elowyn Soulstone right here. And the interesting part is, if you've asked me, make it 4 months ago, I would have said, just sell off one of those bottom tier legendaries, you're gonna be fine, get yourself that Soulstone. And the reason for me saying that is obviously because Elowyn has this beautiful awakening right here. The A1 is alright, A2 is whatever. But the A3 is where it gets nasty, with the chance to already dispel not just in ultimate but also through basic attack. But, as I said, this was a couple months ago. And that is because all of a sudden, the devs have found this really vested interest in making old characters good again. Making old characters great again, you might say. So, it's not necessarily as easy anymore to just recommend you to sell off these trash tier legendaries, because one of those buffs could be right around the corner. Yes, Beatrix before her buff wasn't bad, but she would have been someone you could have considered selling in exchange for said Soulstone right here. So yeah, there's obviously one type of person that can easily be sold off, and that is everything past A5. As long as you're not waiting for a reset book to reset some soulstones out of them and then use the old copy. So even if you've got A5s, if you already have a soulstone invested in and you're looking for getting that soulstone back through a book shenanigan, obviously don't sell them once they're past A5. So fully natural A5s, that is what you can sell. And outside of that, you really have to think about it if you need it. Now, again, the A1 is not going to change much for you. It just makes your Elowyn take less damage after using the ultimate. The A2 is not going to change much. The healing is going to be basically the same. And this A3, right? The A5, yes, that is also pretty strong. Because so the way would have worked is you can place the would have down for 8. No, you can, yeah, again, you can place it down for 5, you can sell it for 8, meaning you're generating 3 cost out of thin air, and here every time you were to use Elowyn's ultimate, you were able to generate another 3 cost, and also the would have being this anywhere deployable huge healing field also comes into play. So even when you're talking about strong awakenings, it's not just the A3, the A5 is also unique enough to be called a good awakening. So on the note of just heroes, there is not going to be a future in which Elowyn isn't relevant, right? That's just not really going to happen because she just brings too much to the table in dispels, in healing, in AoE global healing, and then also obviously the most important part being the global rage. So I don't see a future in which Elowyn is going to become useless. So that's also in favor of her awakenings. But then again, the question remains of who could you even consider selling off to get one of these awakenings, right? Who would even make sense right there? We gotta pull ourselves a Merlin. But yeah, okay. I mean, we can go from top to bottom. Why not? Obviously, do not sell any arbiters. Do not sell any Chaos Dominion units. Even as much as you hated Giselle, there can still be something incoming for her. There was an attempt with the Bond skill. It didn't go very far, but there was an intent. All right. So don't sell Giselle's. Don't sell Kate's. Keep your claws. And obviously the same is true for the arbiters. Now, in the legendary Esotericist department right here, honestly, it is interesting, but Trusk Trusk is kind of like in this position where he's not bad enough to be buffed, but also not strong enough to be really used anywhere. So yeah, I don't know. I'm in general not really the biggest Trusk fan of them all. But yeah, outside of that, something to consider besides legendaries that are just bad are legendaries where you don't really care about their awakenings. Like, for example, they're already strong enough at A0, and even if you were to, for example, give them awakenings, nothing would truly change. But even Ezrin seems to have found his niche, however you kind of call it, in certain pieces of content. So even Ezrin is someone I would be uncomfortable with, like, telling you to sell. Alora, do not sell an Alora. Alora is going to get relevant enough in Gear 3 with stages 22, 23, and 24. Razak. Razak is still just a very fine AoE damage unit. Calypso got her recent buff. I mean, the only time it's worth not selling an Aspan is if he gets a buff. But if he doesn't get a buff, then it's also not worth keeping him. That is frustrating to say the least. And also, for those of you wondering, no, I don't really see a future for Aspen in the higher gear rate stages 3, so like 22 to 24. It's kind of going to be like maybe place down Araka or, I don't know, other units, but not necessarily Mr. Aspen. Infernal Blast. Anai has her space in Codex. Anai is one single change away from being great. Like, just give her a good exclusive artifact and she can be amazing. Like, the main issue with Anai, honestly, for most, is that you don't have a max guild. Anai really needs her skill ups for her to start shining. So keep that in mind. Outside of that, all the Infernals are honestly, I mean, okay, Aurum. Aurum is this kind of hero where he is so alright in what he does at A0, you could get rid of his awakenings unless they give him a major buff. Because these awakenings, nobody truly cares about them. And also, he only has a single use, and that single use is being used in the Infernal faction trials instead of Titan. Alright, so moving on into the Cursed Cult faction. Let's check out what we have at the moment. And yes, I know you want me to talk about a very specific unit that might be somewhere here. Yes, Zealous. So, Zealous, it's kind of getting to the point where he obviously cannot keep up anymore. Yes, you can clear 21, and yes, he's a help with his 40% reduction, but honestly, it's really not enough. Something that kind of hard carries Zealous as of this moment still is this exclusive piece right here that gives him the ability to extend his ultimate duration by 10 seconds, and each enemy that dies increases his damage. But overall, what you're gaining is a ult time increase from 10 to 20 seconds, so you're pretty much doubling the uptime, and then it would allow also for like smoother ult rotations and whatnot. So yeah, that's kind of the only saving grace for him, but the biggest issue that has been and kind of feels like will always be is that anti-heal exists. As great as Zealous's capabilities are, even if you get him to 100% uptime, reducing the enemy's healing received by 45% is not ever really going to be as viable as reducing the enemy's healing received by 100%, right? So yeah, the best time you can still make use of Zealous is by having his exclusive gear, which is at least, that is something you have to admit, it is at least easy to build, because for a Cataclysm set, you can just whip on something that doesn't even need to have attack speed, so you would have like crit rate, crit damage, and go crit rate, crit damage. You can take out well, can take out the hero exclusive one, and then, I don't know, you find a piece like, hard example. Let's see, do we have anyone? But you get what I mean, right? You don't need attack speed, so it's pretty easy to find a piece to use. And then the same is obviously true down here. And here you could even search for exclusive gear and then find like a cultist ring that just has crit rate and crit damage. Like for example this one. So you can also get the extra bonus of doing 10% more damage. Would I consider selling Zealous with all of this in mind? Honestly, no. So my biggest argument against selling, yes, is buffs, but also as great as Elowyn's A3 is, the only piece of content I can see that come in like super clutch is niche content, like maybe chapter 10 in campaign. And outside of that, some event stages where there's like a lot of debuffs applying, maybe in the tower to an extent with like the poison stages, but those also aren't the truly hard ones. Where it really shines is just the ability to make your life easier in Guild Boss 2. But making your life easier in Guild Boss 2 shouldn't warrant selling legendaries that could become better. But also we are talking a lot about a could, should, would. It is hard to say what the devs are going to do. Though I guess at this point I might as well just tell you something that's already confirmed by the devs. And that is you can look forward to a Elder rework. You can look forward to an Elder rework. And you can look forward to a Demi rework. So Elder and Demi are getting their reworks. Which at least means reworks are in order. So if you thought about it, don't sell any Elders or Demis. Okay, outside of that in the faction, is anyone super useless? No, Kriya's fine the way she is. Though she obviously could be better, right? She's fine the way she is, but she could be better for sure. And then Nightmare Council. Yeah, I mean, I guess Kineza. Like, Kineza is such a weird hero. So let me talk to you about how dodge heroes work in other games, or like specifically Arc Knights. Also tower defense, place down your units, etc. The issue there is a dodge tank is a unit that is tanky because of the fact that they have super high chance to dodge, meaning they're gonna be able to hold the line against a strong enemy, not by value of having super high HP or whatnot, but having a high enough dodge chance to the point where, let's say 80, 85, 90% even, where they can stay on the field for a long amount of time and stall out that one strong unit just by virtue of dodging. Which isn't the case with Kineza. Her dodging just isn't high enough. She just doesn't have enough percentages. So what's end up happening is you use her, have her against a strong enemy, and then she hits, she gets hit once, and then she dodges. Wow. And then she gets hit again and she dies. Or she gets hit, she loses like 60, 70, 80, 90 because she doesn't have really this defensive based kit. 90%, she loses 90% of her HP, and then, yeah, next time she gets hit, she's then done. It's kind of an issue of her not having enough survivability. Like, she has the durability tag, but she really isn't all that durable. So what needs to happen for Kineza is there has to be, I don't know, a piece of exclusive gear or whatever that really pushes this key dodge chance into the right direction. It's just not high enough as of this moment. Azor is kind of like an Aurum case, but also Azor, let me see. The CC effect duration is quite nice with the A1, and if you have his exclusive gear, you can use him for Guild Boss 2 with the stuns. But yeah, Azor is also one of those where you don't really need the awakenings. So you could get rid of an Azor. Outside of that, Nightmare faction wise, I don't know. I would still keep like most, if not all of them. Shamir. So Shamir's only reason for him to be worth keeping these is if there's a rework, right? But with the way they're going, with the way they're pacing stuff, and also with their intent of reworking Elder, there could be a rework also in order for Shamir, which would then ruin you by you having given up all your Shamirs in hopes of getting an Elowyn A3, which is great, but it is not game-changing by any means. Is there anybody else in the faction? Not quite. Honestly, all of them do kind of pull their weight in what they need to do. Even Nocturne. Yeah, no, not really. And also Sadie. All of you Sadie owners, get hyped. You're going to need her. You're going to need her when it comes to Gear A2. So yeah, all the Sadie owners rejoice. Sadie's gonna be clutch once again. Watcher faction wise, obviously you got Krog, right? Where you have Shamir, you also got Krog. His exclusive sucks. His kit isn't anything good. And as long as they don't implement my April Fool's changes, I don't see a reason why Krog is ever going to be good. But then again, he could be. And do you want to trade a future good unit versus a awakening that helps you in very, very niche scenarios? Because also you have to look at it again from a dev perspective. Do they really want to make content where it's specifically required or to a humongous advantage to have 4 copies pulled of Elowyn? I don't think so. So yeah, outside of that, I mean, Edith is fine the way she is, even though her awakenings aren't as important. Like, Edith is someone I would be kind of comfortable with selling because you can do what she wants to do with just a 0. Regulus, you're gonna pull a couple, you're gonna need them at some point. But yeah, this is also weird. This should be when on the field all units or all allies gain, because just a 10% damage reduction to another defender, it really isn't quite good enough. So these have been all the heroes, all my arguments and everything else in between. I hope this kind of helped you in some way. And as always, we see each other in the next one. Peace!